folks, there has been a bit of a controversy because it seems like the President of the United States received a credible threat on his life coming from Iran about a possible assassination attempt. And this was while he was in Turkey. And he decided, along with some of his security detail, that the best move was to tell everyone he was on board and was going to fly on the original Air Force One. And then he got snuck out of Air Force One in a catering van to a different plane. And he allowed civilian reporters and different bureaucratic staff to be on Air Force One in case it got blown up to make it look as real as possible. There are plenty of ways for US presidents to get out of dangerous situations. Like the United States security has like all kinds of contingency plans, etc. But like this usually doesn't involve putting civilians in harm's way, right? Like I know a lot of you guys were around for Obama. I know a lot of you guys were around for George W. Bush. Both of them did high-profile visits to Iraq. And there were a lot of security concerns with the presidents going to Iraq. And there were contingency plans. There were, in some cases, like, subterfuge in order to make sure the president remained safe. But that subterfuge didn't come by putting civilians and bureaucrats in the government in harm's way. Like, it wasn't like, oh, yeah, there's a target on your back, Obama. And Obama wasn't like, oh, that's okay. Put Charles from accounting in front of the red dot from the sniper rifle. Like, this doesn't... Like, this didn't need to happen. It happened because Donald Trump just kind of wants people to die. And now that he's getting called out for it, he's come up with a very unique defense for his unconscionable actions. And I want to play this for you guys, because it's pretty incredible.
It's only up to Secret Service.
Oh, this is so quiet. Why are you so quiet?
I just follow what they'd like to do. So I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane, equal safety, but they wanted me to do it, so I do it. I do what they say. Well, I don't know. I think actually the plane that I flew on was at greater risk. I think it was at greater risk because that would be the plane I think that they would be more likely to go for. I don't worry about anything, to be honest. Whatever it is, you know my attitude? Whatever.
So, just to be very clear here, his excuse for this is, don't worry, everyone. They put me on the more dangerous plane. There's a credible threat on my life if I had boarded the original Air Force One, but there was actually a more dangerous plane that my security staff put me on. And, like, I'm sorry. Like, if you're MAGA, you believe this horse shit? Like, if you are a supporter of Donald Trump, you think that the U.S. military put him on a more dangerous aircraft? That's really dumb. That's really dumb. Like, I can't calculate how stupid this is. Donald Trump is also, on top of all of this, widely known as a coward. Like, he is infamously a cowardly man. He is a hypochondriac. He's scared of germs. You know, he's very much a coward. And so the idea that anyone is supposed to, like, believe him when he says, oh, no, don't worry, the military told me, my security told me to get on a more dangerous plane. I just do whatever they tell me. But I'm sure it was the more dangerous plane. Like, what? we're already so far into a land of make-believe, it's ridiculous. He's practically following a yellow brick road in the land of Oz at that point. And like, it baffles me that when the questions and the concern here is, hey, did the president just use human shields to try and keep himself safe? His response is, well, maybe, but I actually got on a more dangerous plane, so the point is moot. Like, it's crazy. Sure, I threw civilian bodies in front of a credible threat on my life, but, the way I saved my life may have actually been more dangerous because I imagined it that way. Like, this is some Dave Rubin level, high level ideas. You could get in his head really easily, asking him who's actually in charge if you do what the military tells you. Exactly! You know? Like, it just shows, like, his fake answer shows and reveals him to be easily manipulated, shows him to be very much a weak, pathetic, and scared man. And, like, if he's not making the executive decisions as commander-in-chief, who is? Is it Pete Hegseth? You know, this guy?
And the first C-17 to come to Charleston Air Force Base was called the Spirit of Charleston. And the first C-17...
Dog, why are you wiping your nose and then running your hands through your hair? Dog, are you snot moose? You know, I would love to tell you that is the bottom of the barrel here. But Small Frog, I unfortunately have to tell you it's way worse than that. It's way worse than that. It's way worse than that. Way worse than that. When I talk, I know I keep coming back to this. When I talk about how there's a certain kind of guy, right? There's a certain kind of man who doesn't wash his ass, who doesn't wipe his ass, who just doesn't believe in the concept of hygiene. Pete Hegseth is that guy. You know, he's the epitome of that guy. It's crazy. You can actually find some great clips of him saying this.
As I told you, my 2019 resolution is to say things on air that I say off air. I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years. Really, I don't really wash my hands ever.
Help me!
No, I inoculate myself. It's just not, germs are not a real thing. I can't see them, therefore they're not real.
So you're becoming immune?
I don't really have any words to add to this. Like, I feel like I don't got anything to add to that. Like, that says so much more than I could ever say. And before anyone says, oh, that's AI, that's from 6 years ago, guys. That's a clip from 6 years ago. He's kidding, right? No, he's not. Okay? And unfortunately, this is going to kill people. This is going to kill people because, you know, the kinds of people who say, oh, germs aren't a real thing, they've surrounded Donald Trump. They've surrounded him. His entire cabinet, practically, as far as I can tell, is made up of people who reject germ theory. Which, by the way, includes RFK Jr. It's crazy. But that is what is leading to this.
So at year one, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all in the same day. Very importantly, vaccinations for hepatitis B, COVID-19, and influenza, among others, are no longer recommended for all children. In addition, this executive order directs the Attorney General to advance legal challenges against states that violate children's rights to religious or medical vaccination exemptions for the
Yeah, so he basically removed the requirement for children to be vaccinated, or rather the recommendation for children to get vaccinated. And, you know, if you're wondering why, well, it's all coming alongside a salvo of misinformation about the COVID vaccine, which I want to point out was developed under Donald Trump. it is arguably the only good thing that he helped do during his term. And this is what Republicans are doing right now, talking about it.
Tell me, you now see what Senator Ron Johnson was able to release. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's disgusting and it's criminal, in my opinion. As a mother, I can't imagine being pregnant, listening to the man in charge straight up lie to the American people. You try so hard to get pregnant, and then you listen to him. Oh, in fact, I think he actually said that there was never a risk of pregnancy, never a risk. When in fact, the New England Journal of Medicine said 82% of women who got the vaccine in their first or second trimester had a miscarriage. I mean, that is criminal and it's disgusting, and this man should be held accountable for it.
Now, I really have to stress here, there is no evidence that ever happened. Like, what she is citing here, I can only explain by either she went into this conversation determined to lie, or she tormented a ChatGPT like search prompt until it told her bullshit information. Those are the only really two possibilities, because otherwise the response I have here is just...
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a
it's just lies. It's just goddamn lies. But not only that, and not only is it lies, those lies are being spread by everybody in the Trump administration at this point. Here's, the assistant NIH director, Jay Bhattacharya, for 2 minutes trying to substantiate this claim.
Be managed.
And people need the freedom to make these decisions, to talk to their doctor. Let me ask you this. Do we know, because everyone has heard anecdotal instances where women had miscarriages during that period near the time that they took this vaccine. Do we know if the vaccine caused adverse effects that could have led to miscarriages in that time period?
I mean, Martha, it's certainly possible. You saw that reflected in Tony Fauci's text. The debate regarding that question rages on to this day. I mean, I can tell you, like, I wrote a draft paper that we never able to get published, where we found a slight increase in miscarriages in the first trimester. Whether that's right or not, it depends on peer review and all that, which we didn't finish going through because I became director. Other people have published papers that say that there has not been a rise. Now that debate then rages on in the scientific literature. For me, it's even beyond that. The key question is, when you are recommending something for pregnant women, you have to be pretty certain, because they're a very vulnerable population, especially the baby that they have inside of them is vulnerable. We are usually very careful as doctors to say, well, we even say don't eat sushi, don't the things where there's not a, we take a balance toward the risks don't generally outweigh the benefits from products. Instead of using that normal sort of common sense kind of approach to recommendations for pregnant women at the time, what they were saying at the time was just ignore all those harms, forget about the possibility, forget about the scientific debate, forget about all that nuance, and just say you must take it, right. Or else you lose your job, or else you...
Yeah, Fragwitz points out quite accurately, a slight increase is not 80+%.
And very uncozy news.
Indeed, Pluvius, indeed. But we'll try and have a good time anyway. And thank you for the tier 1 sub.
Lose your ability to go into society. I think that was a tremendous mistake, and we're paying the price as a result in the loss of trust in public health.
Yeah. And as you...
the loss of trust in public health is being driven by all of the people in Trump's cabinet who deny germ theory, who are telling people not to get vaccinated, who are trying to substantiate this, like Jay Bhattacharya. Dude, you are the one who is like spreading the fear. This is like that time Eric Adams was on the Breakfast Club. No, yeah, it was on the Breakfast Club with Olayemi Olurin, and was talking about how the perception of the New York City subway was that it's really dangerous. And she was like, but you're the one telling people that it's dangerous. And he was like, well, we need to put more cops onto the subway because people perceive it to be dangerous. And it's like, that you were telling them that it's dangerous. You're the reason.
You were saying this all along, and you were mocked and vilified, as I said, and now you're...
Yes, because he wasn't even able to publish any of his papers on this because they did not have the level of scientific rigor necessary to pass peer review.
You're the director of the National Institutes of Health. I think that much of what you said in the Great Barrington, perhaps all, I just don't know, it has been proven to be true in follow-up.
Yeah, also everyone should go check out Olayemi Olurin's channel. Excellent stuff.
Studies, and especially in the damage that we've seen that happened to kids who were kept out of school. Let me ask you...
God, it's truly awful. It's truly awful. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Is the guy who's willing to use human shields to keep himself safe as president really out to look, out there looking out for your children? No. He is willing to listen to the biggest dipshits on the planet, surrounding himself with yes men who agree with him, and he's willing to put your children in danger. He's willing to kill your kids in order for his political gain. Like, this is the thing that, like, absolutely tears me up inside, which is that when he signs an executive order to basically rescind recommendations for vaccines, that we know statistically that is going to kill people. And we know statistically that's going to kill children. When we talk about all this, it is important to realize why he's doing it. And he's doing it to shore up a certain part of his political base that is anti-science and anti-health. And this is one of the reasons why I get so mad by folks on the left who act like, Make America Healthy Again has any redeeming value. Because the premise and underlying push for making America healthy again as like a slogan and as like a movement is not to make America healthy again. It's to kill the undeserving. It is effectively eugenics with, underneath a sheet with eye holes cut out. It is frustrating. And like one of the parts of AOC's appearance on the Majority Report that I found really frustrating was her talking about Make America Healthy Again as if it is genuinely interested in doing things like bringing American food standards up to that of like the European Union or Japan, which is not at all what Make America Healthy Again is interested in. They're not interested in higher food standards. They're not interested in like food inspectors. They're not interested in like more efficient ways to prevent mass outbreaks of like foodborne illnesses. They're not interested in anything that would be sensible. They're interested in, I don't want to vaccinate my kids because I think vaccines lower your IQ and also make you gay and also autistic. That's not backed up by science, and anyone who is interested in the science for real would not be suckered into that shit. And so that's frustrating, but I get it from AOC's point of view, right? To a degree. Where I find even less charitability in me is for the folks who are on the left, and some of you may know who I'm talking about.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
Some of you may know who I'm talking about. But like, the pretending like any of this has any merit whatsoever. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. And I'm just going to end on two final notes here, specifically about how Donald Trump wants to kill you and kill your children. So this is a direct quote from Kate Clancy, who is a science professor at the University of Illinois and who worked on the vaccine and studied specifically its side effects. And this is a direct quote in her response to Jay Bhattacharya. Jesus fucking Christ. COVID vax reduced miscarriages and stillbirths. Also, I'm one of the people who studied menstrual side effects of the COVID vax to make sure we didn't invalidate people's real experiences and to better set expectations for side effects. Ultimately, the project made me even more pro-vaccination. The people who studied this specifically, when it came to miscarriage rates and when it came to effects on pregnancy, literally are out there screaming from the rooftops saying, hey, this made people more likely to give birth to living children. And do you want to know why that is? It shouldn't even be that difficult of like a mental leap to make. But the reason that is because if you get COVID and you're unvaccinated, your child is more likely to die. Your baby in utero is more likely to die. It's not difficult to figure out. So people who get vaccinated are more likely to have healthy, happy babies. And one last thing, and I will put a caveat on this, which is that this is from a preprint study that has not yet been peer-reviewed.
Orwellian naming is common on the far right. Maha makes you sick. Heritage Institute destroying our history. Moms for Liberty removing freedom. Act.
100% Red Rudy. Thank you for subscribing being a member over on YouTube. Very much appreciate it. So this is from a preprint study that hasn't been peer-reviewed. Okay, this is the caveat at the top of it. Projected economic gains and lives saved under universal healthcare in the United States. This is a study from researchers at Yale, and it is pretty well done as far as I can tell, as a lay non-science person. I would wait for it to be peer-reviewed to start crowing it from the rooftops, but I think it bears mentioning here, which is that despite all of the anti-science stuff, despite all of the horrible shit that is going on right now in the world of health, in the world of, hey, the United States government has just decided to say, fuck you, die to children, the elderly, and basically anyone who is immunocompromised. But this study comes to some very interesting conclusions about what this would be. So here's the abstract. The US spends more on healthcare than any other nation, yet tens of millions of Americans are uninsured or underinsured, and coverage retractions enacted in 2025 are widening these gaps. The misalignment between the for-profit insurance architecture and optimal patient care, together with the inefficiencies of a fragmented system, contributes to both unnecessary costs and preventable mortality. We updated our previous analyses with the most recent data to project the economic benefits and the number of lives saved that would be achieved by single-payer universal coverage as proposed in the Medicare for All Act. We estimate that such a system would reduce national health expenditure by $1.041 trillion per year. Per year. Sources of savings include reductions in administrative overhead, pharmaceutical prices, fraudulent billing, and avoidable emergency care. Combined with the reversal of recent retractions, universal coverage would save over 114,000 lives every year. What that means is, and I want to be very clear here, I want to put it here, if this paper survives peer review, what this would mean is that private health insurance costs us over $1 trillion every year. $1 trillion that could be used to stimulate your local economy, to build up necessary infrastructure to make our lives better. Oh, wait, it said billion, not trillion. Yeah, but it said $1,041 billion. That's over $1 trillion. 1,041 billion is over $1 trillion. And when we start looking at this, it means that it costs us $1 trillion a year so that corporate health executives can make profits. It costs us 114,000 people dying every year so that corporate business executives can continue raking in investor money. And like, what this means is these people literally want you dead because it makes them money. And it's so fucking frustrating. I'm going to link this paper. You guys can go read it for yourselves. I mean, honestly, the costs of not doing Medicare for all are unsustainable. The costs of refusing to provide universal health coverage for every man, woman, child in this country are too astronomical for us to absorb. Yeah, and it's so that some kind of fucking healthcare executive can buy a yacht somewhere. Like, I don't know about you, I don't think I want to sacrifice 114,000 people every year so that healthcare executives can buy one more yacht. So, all of this being said, this is my argument. Donald Trump and Republicans want you dead. They are actively pursuing policies to kill you, to kill your children. And on top of that, they are protecting an industry that can only survive by siphoning off $1 trillion of your dollars and 114,000 lives every year. It's unconscionable. It's unsustainable. And what we have to do is we have to organize. We have to join our local Dems. We have to join our local DSA. We have to get involved. We have to flip the House. We have to flip the Senate. We have to flip the presidency. We have to get a full goddamn sweep. And not just a sweep of just any corporate Dem. We need a sweep of people who are going to reject corporate healthcare money, who are going to reject this bullshit, because this is not acceptable. Would Medicare for All cover everything? I think pretty much everything. Medicare for All, I believe, would cover vision, dental, healthcare across the board. I think the only thing it wouldn't cover would be like what would be considered more optional procedures, or like like some forms of plastic surgery in certain circumstances. But like overall, it would cover basically everything. Yeah, it would cover a hell of a lot, I think would be an accurate way of describing it. So, all that being said, folks, join your local Dems, join your local DSA, and if you need help getting involved, if you need help getting started, please join our Discord, !Discord in any of the chats. There's also a link down in the description of the video. And reach out to GamerG for help joining DSA. Reach out to Dragonfly for help joining your local Dems. Because, folks, it is necessary for us to organize. Because if we don't, you need to remember, these rich assholes and the people who serve at their whim would rather see us dead than ever give up one single bonus check or to give up their political power. So, we need to organize, because in organization, that is where we have our power. It's the same as it always has been. The only way out is to organize with one another. All that being said, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment. Commenting is really important for the algorithm. And, let me know what you think of all this mess.
Just for scale, 1 million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion is 31 years. And 1 trillion is 31k years. Trillions of dollars is another magnitude.
The human mind is not made to comprehend $1 trillion. the human mind can't comprehend. Like if I ask you to envision, 10 elephants, you can do it. Your imagination can handle that. If I ask you to envision 1,000 elephants, it starts to get a little bit fuzzier, but maybe you can do that. If I ask you to envision 1,000,000 elephants, maybe it's like some kind of colossal field just packed with elephants, but maybe you could do that. Maybe. But 1,000,000,000 elephants? Nobody has any idea what that would look like. We lack the imaginative capacity to imagine what 1,000,000,000 elephants would look like. And that's what we're talking about with $1 trillion is 1,000 times that. It's effectively like fantasy money. But we could be using that fantasy money to improve our lives and the lives of our neighbors and the people we care about. We could be using it to solve world hunger. We could be doing so much with that money. It's ridiculous. Jack, lawmakers can't reject all monies from healthcare corps? Yeah, they can. Having a fiduciary responsibility to investors doesn't mean that lawmakers have to accept corporate donations from health insurance companies. And it certainly doesn't mean that Congress has to bend to their whim. So, all that being said, folks, leave a comment. And comments really, really do help in the algorithm. Last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy, non-tucking lingerie. Go check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the doobly-doo. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, being plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack.